That sounds about right. So I don't know much about Shakespeare, other that he's a brilliant literist that they made me study in English class more than I wanted to. Okay. Let's do it. Yatha credo paskaranam Sangyoga vigama viha Ichaya kriditu shyatam Tathaive shechaya nirnam Yatha, as much as krida upaskaranam, playthings, this is for you, Craig. Sangyoga, union. Vigamo, disunion. Iha, in this world. Ichaya, by the will of. Kriditu, just to play a part. Shatam, takes place. Tatha, so also. Eva, certainly. Isha, the Supreme Lord, thank you, Pish. Ichaya, by the will of. Nirnam, of the human beings. As a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. So, Prabhupada says, we must know for certain that the particular position in which we are now set up is an arrangement of the supreme will in terms of our own acts in the past. The Supreme Lord is present as the localized Paramatma in the heart of every living being, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita 13:23. We can just maybe take a quick detour and see what that exactly says. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha para. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul. We just sang that. He underpins and oversees the complete creation, right? We just did our little English translation of that verse. We sing every morning. So this is the Lord's position. He's ultimately guiding everyone and permitting everyone and everything towards everything they do. And therefore, He knows everything of our activities in every stage of our lives. He rewards the reactions of our actions by placing us in some particular place. A rich man gets his son born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but the child who came as the rich man's son deserves such a place, and therefore he is placed there by the will of the Lord. And at a particular moment, when the child has to be removed from that place, he is also carried by the will of the Supreme, even if the child or the father does not wish to be separated from the happy relation. The same thing happens in the case of a poor man also. Neither rich man nor poor man has any control over such meetings or separations of living beings. The example of a player and his playthings should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is bound to award the reactionary results of our own actions, the example of a player cannot be applied, but it is not so. We must always remember that the Lord is the supreme will, and He is not bound by any law. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the result of one's own actions, but in special cases, by the will of the Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. But this change can be effected by the will of the Lord only and no other. Therefore, the example of the player cited in this verse is quite appropriate. For the supreme will is absolutely free to do whatever He likes, and because He is all perfect, there is no mistake in any of His actions or reactions. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure devotee is involved. It is assured in the Bhagavad Gita 9:30 and 9:31 that the Lord saves a pure devotee who has surrendered unto Him without reservation from all sorts of reactions of sins, and there is no doubt about this. There are hundreds of examples of reactions changed by the Lord in the history of the world. If the Lord is able to change the reactions of one's past deeds, then certainly He is not Himself bound by any action or reaction of His own deeds. He is perfect and transcendental to all laws. Let's look at 9:30 and 31. Apichet sutaracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak saroreva samantavya samyag vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. And let's go to 31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvach chanting nigachati konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashiti. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. Declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So these are some hopeful verses. Oh, did I really do that? I think I did. Let me see if I can. I lost the verse that we were on. So 13. Okay. All the way down here, 43. Too far. So, as a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. Prabhupada clarifies a few things here. We think everything's due to karma, and everything is due to karma, but who's setting up karma? The great player, the great stage operator set up is Krishna. He sets the stage, and he allows everyone to act and dance as they so desire, but ultimately he sets it up. And now interesting thing is that the devotee, in regard to the pure devotee, we are not bound by karma. And this is exemplified, Arjuna was very scared of karma in the Bhagavad Gita. If you remember the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he was not, he ultimately didn't want to do it because he didn't want to accrue sins for murdering others, and he didn't want to take all that karma. And Krishna was assuring him, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami ma suchaha. Moksha yishyami ma suchaha. I will deliver you, do not worry. This is what Krishna is saying. Meaning that you don't have to worry from any sinful reactions. I will take care of this, actually. So this is actually the case. That even though Krishna sets up this stage and then we're completely bound, by the ropes of the laws of nature. Also, if the Lord wants to change our fortune, which actually everyone in this room, he's changed your fortune. If he wants to change your fortune and put you in all kinds of interesting circumstances, he'll do whatever he likes, actually. It's up to you now to ultimately just respond and understand, okay, this is the Lord's position. And so this is what Narada is trying to tease out of Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, that, hey, what are you so worried about? What are you getting lamenting over? And so naturally Yudhishthira is doing his job as being an affectionate devotee king who's looking after his relatives. But Narada is now giving him higher knowledge and the tools to cope with difficulty. And you also may need this in your life, You may be looking after some devotees or something. Anything could happen, and next thing you know, the devotee disappears. And where's Tulsidas, by the way? Something like that. Sometimes the devotee disappears for some time. But you know what? Krishna has a plan. Krishna has a plan for everyone, and we have to, trust. Krishna is guiding everyone exactly as they need, in exactly the way that they need, for ultimately their well-being. This is one of the principles of Sharanagati, or surrender. And if you want to actually enter bhakti, you have to only enter through the pathway of surrender. If you don't go through the pathway of complete surrender to Krishna, then you're not entering pure bhakti. What you're entering is something else. You'll enter, what's called karma mishra, jnana mishra, or yoga mishra, or adi mishra bhakti. Depending on what you're... so if you can't surrender, so surrender means doing things that are only favorable for bhakti, not doing things that are unfavorable for bhakti, trusting that the Lord is your maintainer. The Lord will maintain me. Always believing that, always trusting that. He will protect you. Always believing that. And His will is absolute. No matter what He does is good. Sometimes we can say, no, that was unfair. God, why did you do that, Krishna? No. He has a good plan. He has a good reason for why He's done everything. Yes, he is just, and then not only just, he's affectionate to you. He's loving you. He's loving you by doing this thing. Whatever difficulty is there, this is Krishna's love coming to you. You learn to see it like this. This is surrender, actually.
He's
and then
more than fair.
What's that?
He's more than
yes,
fair.
he's more than fair.
Every step we take towards him, he takes 100 steps.
That's right. And even, he says to her, for his devotee, even if the devotee does many abominable things, and everyone else who does many abominable things, they have to get many abominable reactions. But his devotee, he'll take care of that person. He'll rightly situate them so they don't do these things anymore, and he will take care of the reactions. I've seen it. I've seen devotees who've made some pretty bad mistakes, but Krishna, and myself included, but Krishna arranged and he took care of that just because for their devotee, and he rightly situated them. And this Prabhupada quoted this 930 and 931. This is also a very abused set of verses, like, I could do all kinds of bad things and Krishna will take care of me. This is the seventh Namaparad, sinning on the strength of the holy name, and you will get punished for this. And it will be fair and it will be Krishna's affection. Yes, but after he punishes you, then you hopefully get rightly situated. So you see this in your life. But if you don't surrender and last become very humble, understanding that everything is, this verse actually is like the last essence of surrender, that, the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. Anything the Lord does is, perfect. I surrender. That's it. Like whatever he does, I have to just trust. So unless you enter through this door of surrender, you cannot enter pure bhakti. So you must learn this art of surrendering to Krishna. Now before we go any further, because it's so late already, I'm not going to do the full Mangala Charana, but I will do not makeshift, but like an abridged Mangala Charana, just to glorify the Gurus. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine speak. It's good to do a Mangala Charana. This is bona fide. I mean, Srila Prabhupada did it in the beginning of his Bhagavad Gita. It's very good. Before you speak anything, you should try and invoke the mercy and blessings of the Lord. But in certain circumstances, you can't go through like a whole 15, 20-minute Mangala Charana. Because some people can, they have such a comprehensive Mangala Charana, it could take very long. So if you learn this one verse, Gurave, which is unto Sri Guru, Gaurachandraya, unto Gaurachandra, Radhikaya Tadalaye, Srimati Radhika and all of her associates, which are ultimately who our Guru Varga is all aspiring to serve in the spiritual life. Krishnaya unto Krishna, Krishna Bhaktaya unto Krishna's bhaktas or devotees, Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Unto all the devotees, Namo Namaha, I offer my respects and obeisance unto you. So if you just learn that one verse, you can cover all of your bases just in that. So this is something you could do. So anyhow, let's continue. Yanmanyase drivang lokam adrivang vana chobayam sarvata nahi shocyaste sneharanyatra mohaja. Yet, even though manyase, you think, dhruvam, absolute truth, lokam, persons, adruvam, non-reality, va, either, na, or not. Cha, also. Ubayam, or both. Sarvatha, in all circumstances. Na, never. He, certainly. Shochya, subject for lamentation. Te, they. Snehat, due to affection. Anyatra, or otherwise. Mohajat, due to bewilderment. Moha. O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle, or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be in an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feelings of separation are due only to illusory affection and nothing more. So, purport here. The actual fact is that every living being is an individual part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and his constitutional position is subordinate, cooperative service. Jiva Swarupa Hoy, the Jiva's true form is Krishnara Nityadas, the eternal servant of Krishna. Krishnara Tatas the Shakti, we are his marginal energy. We could go either which way, in the Maya, or the bewildered energy, or his spiritual energy. Beta Beta Prakash, which we are non-different from, and also completely different from. Little manifestations of him. So this is what Prabhupada is kind of quoting here in English. Either in his conditional material existence or in his liberated position of full knowledge and eternity, the living entity is eternally under the control of the Supreme Lord. But those who are not conversant with factual knowledge put forward many speculative propositions about the real position of the living entity. It is admitted, however, by all schools of philosophy that the living being is eternal, and that the covering body of the five material elements is perishable and temporary. The eternal living entity transmigrates from one material body to another by the law of karma, and material bodies are perishable by their fundamental structures. Therefore, there is nothing to be lamented in the case of the souls being transferred into another body, or the material bodies perishing at a certain stage. This is like literally the first thing Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. You are lamenting for that which is not worthy of lamentation, for this reason. So there's nothing to be lamented in the case of the souls being transferred into another body, or the material bodies perishing at a certain stage. There are others also who believe in the merging of the spirit soul and the Supreme Spirit when it is uncovered by the material engagement. And there are others who do not believe in the existence of spirit or soul, but believe in tangible matter. In our daily experience, we find so many transformations of matter from one form to another, but we do not lament such changing features. In either of the above cases, the force of divine energy is uncheckable. No one has any hand in it, and thus there is no cause of grief. There's a funny pastime where in the beginning of the Nrsingadev pastime, Lord Nrsinga, he is, in his Varaha form, he killed Hiranyaksha. You know this? Hiranyakashipu's brother. So what ended up happening is all of the family members are lamenting. And Yamaraj, because there were many devotees in the family member, Yamaraj himself, the Yamadutas couldn't come and have any effect on Hiranyaksha's departure. So Yamaraj himself thought he would go and try and mitigate the situation. So he came in the form of a young boy. This is a pastime in the Bhagavatam. Maybe you've heard this before. And, he starts, kind of questioning, in the form of a young boy, when a child speaks high philosophy, it bewilders anybody. If like a child speaks high philosophy. So I'm hoping we can teach Abhiram some high philosophy. And all kinds of, when all kinds of things happen that like they're bound to happen in my family, things like that, we can just bring Abhiram. And Abhiram, what's your take here? And then he starts speaking, like Prahlad Maharaj. And next thing you know, everybody is like, oh my gosh, So that's my hope, but we'll see what actually happens. So, but anyhow, it actually says that he'll, marvel everyone with his speech. So that's part of his astrology. So we'll see what that means in some years. I'm sure he'll.
Do it the other way too.
Yes, he'll probably do it to me more than anyone. Yes, so I don't know what he's going to do. But anyhow, so Yamaraj comes in the form of a young boy, and he starts ultimately making them question, like, why are we crying? Things there, and then they're explaining, well, he's died, and he's like, well, if we cry, it can make it better. And they're like, no, 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 but we're just lamenting. So he's like, well, why are we crying then? So he starts going through all this different philosophy about pretty much the whole point is to realize just the absurdity of how much we lament the loss of the body. And before that, he was saying, they were saying like, yo, he's gone, he left this world, and he said, no, 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 what are you talking about? He's right here, and he's showing the dead body. The king has died, he's right here. And so ultimately he said, no, 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 that's not the king. His soul is somewhere else. And it's like, oh, then why are we lamenting then? And so when you actually think about why are we lamenting, it's it's crazy actually, because we're getting upset. But really what we're lamenting is our affection and our relationship with them is now changed. It's different. We don't get to associate. But that's all we're really lamenting. We're not lamenting really for the person. Because we know their soul is going somewhere else. And almost every religion agrees that they're usually going to a better place. Not many, but even always, no matter what, you would always trust that God is. So anyway, Yamaraj did this in the beginning of when Hiranyaksha passed away. But it teaches us the absurdity, and Krishna is literally the first teaching of Bhagavad Gita. The first thing, Arjuna is lamenting, and you speak like a learned man, but you mourn for what is not worthy of grief. The wise man laments neither for the living nor for the dead. So we're actually called to be wise, and the Bhagavatam will make us wise. So ultimately, the Lord He arranges everything. So no matter what philosophy you believe in, you consider the soul to be an eternal principle, the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, everything's Brahman, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, you can't explain any of it, or feelings of separation are due, those feelings of separation are due only to illusory affection and nothing more. It's just affection of the body and nothing more actually. Really the reality, we might, we want to, like, for instance, my wife, and we have like a relationship, but we don't actually know each other's souls. We don't know each other's souls. I can't diagnose her soul's journey. She can't diagnose my soul's journey. We're just right now coming together, and through the bodily relationship that we have, it can, we have a beneficial relationship. And even it's nice. We can serve the Lord together. We can raise a child together. So many things we help manage together. But ultimately, it's not like our souls are, fully in full force, associating with each other. Because as soon as one of our bodies perishes first, and it would probably be mine, as soon as, my body goes, it's not like she'll know where my soul is going. And she'll see, oh yes, no, our souls are connected. I know exactly what's happening, No, we don't know like that. We have so many relationships. I know Piyush and Parth and Ben and Jagadish and Craig, but I don't actually know you, and you don't know me. We just know each other's bodies, the manifested body, the manifested karmic version of what the soul's experiencing. But we actually have no idea of each other at all. So it's really everything, all the lamentation that we feel of separation is just due to that illusory bodily affection. It's not the reality of the situation. This is just the temporary manifestation of Jagadish or Craig or Piyush or Ben or Parth. So anyway, this is so much prominent in everyone's life. People, you go to a funeral, everyone, yes.
I was just going to ask what chapter this is, because
13th first canto.
Okay, because I need it specifically for the next funeral. I was just thinking that.
Yes. There's so much. Don't worry, you got so many chapters in the Bhagavatam. You could throw it in at a funeral. You have Yamaraj when he comes as a young boy. You have Chitraketu when his son is revived. There's really so much good funeral arsenal there. But yes, the 13th chapter of the first canto. Let's read at least one more verse. Tasmaj jahyanga vaiklavyam Agyana kritam atmanaha Kathang tvanatha kripana Vartarangs te chamang vina Tasmat, therefore, Jahi, give up, Anga, O king, Vaiklavyam, mental disparity, Agyana, ignorance, Kritam, due to, Atmana, of yourself, Katham, how, to, but, Anatha, helpless, Kripana, poor creatures, Vartaran, be able to survive, Te, they, Cha, also, Mam, me, Vina, without. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they, who are helpless poor creatures, will exist without you. Purport. When we think of our kith and kin as being helpless and dependent on us, it is all due to ignorance. Every living creature is allowed all protection by the order of the Supreme Lord in terms of each one's acquired position in the world. The Lord is known as Bhuta Brit, one who gives protection to all living beings. One should discharge his duties only, for no one but the Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. So naturally, just, any anxiety is due to ignorance of like who you are and actually what your relationship is. Like, God forbid, I really would hope he wouldn't do this, but maybe this is his plan. But something were to happen to Abhiram, he's like a little baby, and I'm thinking, yes, I'm his protector. I am taking care of Abhiram. Yes.
What does kith mean?
I believe we can look it up. I believe kith means friends.
Yeah, it's like another variation of kin.
So
Kin means related.
yes, kith is one's friends, acquaintances, and relations. Kith and kin, friends and relatives. And disparity is what is that one again? I was thinking about that. It's a difference in the level of treatment, or especially one that is seen as unfair. Yes, you feel like this is unfair. Whenever we lament, this is kind of what we're saying to God. Why have you done this? This is unfair. But actually, like this, we're challenging God's judgment here. But ultimately, we shouldn't challenge God's judgment. If we're in perfect knowledge, we never would challenge God's judgment. So the wise laments neither for the living nor the dead, Bhagavad Gita. So that was short. Maybe we do, the next one's short too. We could do one more. Kala karma gunadhino Deho yang pancha bhotika Katham anyangs tu gopaye Sarpagrasto yathapadam. Kala, eternal time. Karma, action. Guna, modes of nature. Adina, under the control of. Deha, material body and mind. Ayam, this. Panchabhotika, made of the 5 elements. Katham, how. Anyan, others. Tu, but. Gopayet, give protection. Sarpagrastaha, one who is bitten by the snake. Yatha, as much as. Param, others. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? So this is very nice philosophy. The world's movements for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by superior power. A conditioned living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, sattva, raja, and tamas. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. So really, actually, a lot of the beginning of our bhakti journey is just getting out of the modes of nature. You're not going to enter into bhakti until the modes of nature, you have transcended rajas and tamas, actually. There's practically no chance at all. So, At least pure bhakti, definitely not. So a lot of the, even like in our chanting, a lot of the process is to overcome the manavrittis, the fluctuations of the mind that are causing us to go towards, rajas and tamas, to associate with the material world, to be passionate, or even worse, glide towards destructive activities in the material world. A lot of your process of meditation and chanting and even your worship, everything, is just trying to help you control this that is, making you see things not as they are. So ultimately, though, we have, guidance to overcome these things. So unless you're situated in the mode of goodness, you cannot see things as they are. The passionate ignorant, it's a little redundant, cannot see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called Kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of eternal time, Kala, which is compared to Kala Sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobra-like Kala, or its integrity, the modes of nature, is Bhakti Yoga, as it is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Let's go to it because he quotes it twice. Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahmabu yaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, or at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So one who's actually engaged in devotional service, you'll at once be above the modes of nature. Rajas and tamas cannot touch you. But the surrendering process has to be there, or you're not going to engage in full devotional service. You'll engage in a mixed devotional service. All right, I'll do some devotional service, but I want my karma out of it, or I want this jnana out of it, or I want this mystic perfection out of it, or I want this level of renunciation out of it. There's so many things that can distract us. But ultimately, we're called to engage in full devotional service. And that can only be done in guided and full devotional service. So we should always check with what our guru wants from us, and then also check what are our mentors, our seniors calling from us, in alignment with what guru wants. So, and ultimately, what are the Shastras saying? What does Krishna want? And we should check. Is everything in alignment? Or what the sadhus in my life telling me, what guru in my life is telling me, what the Shastra in my life is telling me? Is everything in alignment? If something's out of alignment, you have to, you ask, why is this out of alignment? And if you can get a satisfying answer and see that actually it really is in alignment, then you carry on. But if you can't somehow align it, then something's out of whack. Maybe this sadhu is not expressing full sadhuhood. Maybe this guru is not expressing full guruhood. And the Shastra, we have our bona fide Shastras. We really can't question the Shastra. It's just not in our position to be able to do so. We can try, and hopefully a guru or a sadhu can explain the Shastra to us, but ultimately, even that, there are different Shastras in the different modes of nature and so on. But there are pure bhakti Shastras given by Krishna himself, like Srimad Bhagavatam being one of them. We don't question the Shastra, but we try and reconcile everything. But one who's engaged in full devotional service, you will not fall down in any circumstance, and you'll at once transcend the modes of material nature and come to the level of Brahman. So this is very nice. So back, where do I go? Is it here?
Your first tab, maybe? Your first tab on top?
No. How do I keep losing my page every time I do that? That's a little frustrating. But Krishna has a plan here. And
You have two more tabs.
Yeah, no, there are other things that I brought up in classes. I keep a couple things all up at once. So, there we go. Okay. So the highest perfectional project of philanthropic activity is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from the control of Maya, or the material nature represented by Kala, Karma, and Guna, as described above. The Bhagavad Gita 14:26 confirms this definitely. There is no solution. There's no material solution to anything. We'll have some big, hospital program. We'll have some big, we'll save the trees. We'll fight climate change. We'll do this thing, that thing, and the other. There is no chance of saving anybody. We're all already in the jaws of the serpent. How can you do anything material to solve this issue here? Really, the only thing that can be done is to help, transcend the modes of nature yourself through the bhakti yoga process, and then help others also transcend the modes of nature. That's the only thing. So we put all of our time and energy, all of our welfare work isn't on the material, solutions. Helping people in the hospital, let's heal diseases, let's, this thing and the other thing. What good will any of that do for anybody? The only thing that can save anybody is give them the spiritual wisdom. That's why ultimately Jesus called, people to be fishers of men, and not fishers of men, just give all your neighbors your clothes and give all your neighbors food and everything will be fine. Yes, that's a base level. You should give people basic necessities of life. That's why even when Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement in the West, he gave them a place to stay. He gave them like a bunch of like bed sheets and things they could wear, no problem. They had clothing. And then ultimately they gave food stuff in the form of prasadam. But ultimately what was he really giving them is bhakti yoga. They had the basics, but ultimately it's bhakti yoga it's going to save them. And that's all of the time and energy is on spreading bhakti yoga. That's what all his books, the conclusion is. So ultimately all of the things that we do, all of our welfare activities, everything, if the conclusion isn't getting people to bhakti yoga, we are not helping them at all. We're wasting time actually.
So help people stop the cycle of birth and death.
Yes. Now think about that. That means every relationship you have in this world that you give time and energy to, maybe your family members, your kith and kin, unless the conclusion is you're getting them closer to bhakti yoga, we can't help them. We're not helping them. Mm-hmm. So really, this is the only thing. Now, what that looks like might be different. Like you might find that someone they're most receptive to approaching bhakti yoga through the Christian lens. Could be a better Christian. Here's the whatever bhakti yoga wisdom I have on how you can be a better Christian. This happened in my life for my dad. I almost very rarely, I tried many times to get him to read the Bhagavad Gita, and he's done it a few times, but not too many times. But mostly, you have to reach him on a platform that's relatable to him. And you talk to people, you might find Jesus is the best, way to engage people towards bhakti yoga. Sometimes you can even find what they're saying in the news or science or something. This could also help lead people towards a conclusion of bhakti yoga. But unless you're leading them in this way, you can't help them. And you can't help yourself either. We're in the jaws of the serpent, of kala, time, karma, action, and the modes of nature. We're bound up by these things, and only bhakti yoga can save us.
Can I say something?
Yes.
We're in the sea of samsara. We're lost in this ocean.
Yes.
And Krishna has thrown us the rope with the life thing.
Yes.
He's thrown it to us.
That's right.
So we have two choices: one, drown, or two, grab a hold.
That's right.
We desperately need to take
Yes.
a hold, and we need to take the medicine, our own medicine.
That's right.
Desperately.
Absolutely. So this is actually, we chant this every morning. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavamburo kripaya tava pada pankaja sleta duli sarisham vichintaya. Oh, the son of Nanda, I'm your servant yet. I've fallen in the sea of birth and death. By your mercy, please take me.
Make me
Place me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Only He can throw the rope and give it to us. And if He does it through Gurudev, we take it. But ultimately, we have to do this, actually. So if you haven't yet in your life gotten serious, and even it's not like, all right, well, I've taken initiation, now I'm serious. Initiation literally means the beginning. You've initiated something. You've started something. But if you haven't even reached the conclusion of initiation yet, we're in the jaws of the serpent, and everything that we plan for our happiness is going to be thwarted, and it's going to and it's going to disappoint and frustrate us. So take to the one thing that can actually save you, and it's Krishna's life rope, as Jagadish was saying. He's willing to take you, but you have to
accept the gift.
Exactly.
Accept the gift.
Exactly.
The gift.
Yes.
Right?
Accept the life raft instead of like, no, I'm going to drown. I'm going to drown in this
I
thing.
don't need you.
Don't drown.
I'll see you there.
Take the gift. Everyone has it at their disposal. Everyone has steps they can take. Like for instance, the prescribed sadhana. To almost any guru in this lineage will accept anyone if you chant 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra daily, and on top of that, follow the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex life. But even so, there are many gurus who are even like, I can't get over this one thing or the other thing. They'll help you. Even I can't do this many rounds. They'll help. So any guru, bona fide guru, will actually help from any position that you're at. But if you work towards these things, and then also the main thing, you must find guidance. This is like a principal limb of bhakti. All of the other limbs in Nectar of Devotion, they stem from these first 3. Finding a spiritual master, surrendering unto Him, taking initiation from Him, and then serving under His guidance. Everything else is like kind of going around the entrance to the gate, but never actually taking the entrance in. So you have to take the entrance in, and maybe you have to get qualified to enter the gate, but go, get in the gate. And it just begins. When you do that, then it begins. You've taken spiritual birth. That's why you're renamed and so on. It's because you actually take birth. But if a lot of times we can think, I'm saved, I found a guru, I'm saved. And maybe, but you actually have to do the thing that he asks. That's the hard part. It's not that like, I did it, I'm initiated now. It's finished. No, it's literally just begun, So welcome. So, we have to actually do this. So anyway, we're in the jaws of the serpent. How can you protect anyone? How can you give anyone good advice? Help anybody if you're not yourself protected? So really, that's only in bhakti, being situated in bhakti. That's all we can do. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. We'll start from 47 tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for your participation in this Krishna Bhakti path. It's very encouraging to watch you all chanting together so enthusiastically today. And I hope we do a lot more of this in the future.